So you've decided you want to try somewhere else, like you want to move to another country or want to live that expat life. What do you do? I'm going to give you a little bit of a checklist, but this is a bit of a choose your own adventure. So there's two different paths you have to start with. The first question is, are you going to legally change your residence? If you're not going to be in any one country or any one area for more than 6 months, you have an option. And that option is, I'm going to maintain my residency and consider that I am just on vacation for a bit of time. If you're going to move there for long term, we're talking over 6 months, years, you're going to have to change your residency. And that's where you get into visas and citizenship issues. And we have a whole separate video that goes into how do you get citizenship, how do you get visas, and work through that. So let's go down the path and say you want to maintain your residency. Got a lot of folks doing this. And what they do is they maintain a residency in the United States. It might be a smaller apartment, a crash pad, something with a legal residence address. The bonus there is you get to keep your current tax status, your current mailing address, and it makes it a little bit easier. The downside is you have to figure out how to get money overseas. The way it works is as a U.S. citizen, you're taxed on your worldwide earnings. So any money you earn overseas is going to get taxed. You can't get away from it. And if you have outside accounts, so you have a bank account for another country, you will have to file tax forms if there's over $10,000 in it. You will also have to file separate forms for any income you got outside the U.S. Maintaining your residency in the United States makes it a little easier, but you still have to do these steps. If you need to get money overseas, the first step is to figure out if your bank and credit cards work overseas. There's quite a few that have some type of international fee, whether it's a currency exchange or some type of service fee. That's not going to work. You can find quite a few cards that now work internationally. Sometimes you have to notify them that you're going to other countries, but they should be good from a credit card standpoint. The cash standpoint can be a little bit harder. You can use debit cards in some areas in the currency exchange machines, but they're not always the best currency exchange rate. Personally, I like using a service like Wise, which used to be called TransferWise, for transferring money to other countries. It does the conversion for you. Fees are relatively low. It's reputable. It's a good way to do that. If you start moving a whole bunch of money across countries, you may start flagging your bank transactions and you may actually lock your bank account. You need a plan around how do you want to get your money overseas. Then you got to figure out how to get your paperwork to all match. For example, if you're going to be traveling or keeping the residency, you're going to be traveling for long periods of time, your estate paperwork, your power of attorney, executor trustee, may or may not work in the other country. In general, when you're traveling, countries try to understand and accept other countries' documents. But first of all, they have to be able to read English and they have to be able to accept and contact the person that you have designated as your power of attorney. So you want to be thinking about that a little bit. And you want to have digital copies of all the paperwork, of course. You also want to make sure you have health insurance for going across countries. The bonus of international health insurance, at least of travel, Geo Blue is one of the ones I like. It's relatively cheap as long as you still have your U.S. insurance. It's interesting. I've had some people try to shut off their U.S. insurance because it's so much more expensive. Then the international insurance gets more expensive. And if you're back in the U.S. and you get hurt, that's a giant medical bill. So you need to have a solution. You also need somebody to manage your stuff in the US. So one of the problems you're going to have is when you're traveling overseas, you may not be able to access your accounts. You can use a VPN sometimes to get in, but sometimes those are blocked. You may need to find somebody in the US. We have a service called Childfree Trust where we service people's power of attorney, medical power of attorney, financial power of attorney, trustee, executor. For people that are traveling internationally, there's an option like, hey, I'm going to be gone for 6 months. Please manage my stuff for me. It's a good way to get it done with a professional fiduciary to do that for you. If we do get contacted when you are overseas, we will do our best to serve you, but we cannot guarantee that that country is going to accept our paperwork or our legalese. So just be aware of that. Now, the other option is I'm going to move out of the U.S. I'm gone. I'm out. And I'm not coming back anytime soon, or I'm going to be gone for a couple of years. Then we're talking about moving your residency, your citizenship, and or visas that you need to stay an extended period of time. When you move outside the U.S., we get into a huge tax problem. Each country has their own tax laws, and many countries have a tax treaty with the United States that says something like this person pays the higher of the taxes between the U.S. and international. The challenge is those rules are not all the same. If you're going to be going cross seas, you need to get a cross-border CPA. Some of this serves both the U.S. and international. If you are doing cross-border taxes, there is no chance you should do that alone. There's no chance you should be filing those taxes on your own, like on TurboTax. You need to get somebody that knows those two countries. And it becomes a challenge. If you put a third country in, it gets really hard to find somebody, but you have to find a specialist for it. We can help you on the U.S. side We can't help if you decide I'm going to go to Switzerland. What are the rules there? When you look at things like your retirement accounts, this gets really interesting. For example, in many countries, they may or may not tax retirement funds. If they tax retirement funds, they do not see a difference between Roth and traditional. So when you're like, oh, I've already paid my tax on the Roth, I don't have to ever pay taxes again. Wrong. You're going to get taxed in that country, and it could be considerable. What happens is your investments can stay where they're at, and not all custodians will be okay with you keeping your accounts going to other countries. You'll have to look and see which country you're going to and are they okay with it. A lot of the bigger custodians are okay, or they have international accounts, but you need to make sure that matches. The challenge then is, how do I not end up being charged double tax? As a U.S. citizen, you're taxed on your worldwide earnings, no matter where you live, no matter what your other citizenship is, unless you pay an exit tax, which is about 25% on all your capital gains on the day you leave and you renounce your citizenship. Very rare that I'm going to tell somebody to pay the exit tax and get out. When you're living overseas, if you keep your citizenship in the U.S., you still can be on Medicare and Social Security. You get your Social Security check overseas, that works fine. Medicare will only cover you for your health insurance in the U.S. There's a slight coverage outside the U.S., but it's made for like travel, and that's it. So you need to be thinking about this stuff, where if you're looking at other countries, I encourage you to work with a financial planner, a cross-border CPA, set up a plan. A lot of folks like this geo arbitrage concept, like, I'm going to go move somewhere that's cheaper, and that's fine. But if you mess it up on the tax and the other things, you may end up paying more than if you just stayed in the United States. It is always going to have to be a deliberate plan to move to another country, and you will need some help.